So we have Occupy Wall Street claiming that there's going to be a spring offensive. George Soros is saying riots and fires literally in the streets of America, perhaps in 2012. Are these all signs that Obama, the Obama crime machine, is staging a 2012 election coup? Let's find out. So is Obama and his crime machine staging a 2012 coup? Now, for a while, if you watched my videos, I've talked about how the cycle goes, right? There's kind of like a very prosperous age called the Golden Age, and then there is a collapse type situation, and then there's a strong man appears, and he kind of takes over. This was a Ravi Batra type of philosophy that he had rolled out, scenario. And for a while I was saying, well, who's the strong man? If we have a financial collapse that is on the way, major dollar devaluation, we know there's forces pushing that are the globalist bankers, specifically Rothschild banking agent George Soros, who has been an early Obama supporter since his Senate campaign back in like 2004, 2006, right? So are they staging something? Because a lot of things just are not making sense. We have George Soros last year calling for, or at the beginning of this year, saying that there was going to be riots in the streets and what he called the age of fallibility. Now, that's interesting because in his book, The Age of Fallibility, Consequences of the War on Terror, he had this to say, quote, "The main obstacle to a stable and just world is the United States." Oops. I always thought the U.S. was the #1 contributor of, to charities financially. That's the American people, not the criminal government. And remember, our government isn't the American people. So we have Occupy Wall Street planning a spring offensive. And Soros, who finances Occupy Wall Street, back in January, he's talking about how riots in the streets. Now we have the Trayvon Martin situation that is coming to a boiling point. All of Obama's surrogates, Al Sharpton, MSNBC, the mainstream media, are fomenting discontent and are saying, hey, we need to riot in the streets because, for justice, okay? And then we have Obamacare, which is going to be ruled upon by the Supreme Court coming in June. Obama has come out and may have been one of his Supreme Court nominees, Sonia Sotomayor, may have come out and telegraphed to him and said, hey, they might strike some of your Obamacare down. Part of it, all of it, I don't know. But Obama's come out and said it would be a bad thing for the Supreme Court. It would be judicial, the judicial system gone astray if they knock down Obamacare. And he's basically called them out yesterday. He said this is a bill that was passed by a democratically elected body of representatives that represent the people. The people's will is we want free health care. Not my will, and it wasn't the majority of Americans when they passed the bill with collusion, bribery, scams, whatever you want to call it. But I'll tell you what, everything that's taking place is about division and discontent. Obama is getting his people fomenting at the mouth like rabid dogs, ready until the right point. In comes George Soros, who's predicted all of this, is calling for all this in January. Now it's happening. And in time after time, in about 5 or 6 other countries, what he's always done is he's basically has been part of destabilizing the currency. Isn't that funny? The dollar is we have the BRICS coming out saying we're going to start a new world bank. We want to trade in our own currency. We have China, Japan, they're trading in their own currency. Russia, China. We have Iran and India trading in gold for oil. All over the world, it's becoming clear the dollar as the world reserve currency is coming to an end. Soros has a big part of this. He's definitely playing as he represents, he's the puppet for the puppet master of the Rothschild banking cartel. So it's all moving along. And in the past, what he's done is he's attacked the currency, which is happening right now. And then he funds and finances groups like, this group here that was called SOPI, which is known as the Secretary of State Project. Here, he's doing everything he can, has contributed millions of dollars trying to get Secretary of States elected, Democrat Secretary of States that run the elections in each state. Already, he's quietly helped elect 11 reform-minded progressive Democrats as secretaries of state to oversee the election process in battleground states. This was from June 23rd, 2011. Supporting Secretary of State candidates with integrity is one of the most cost-effective ways progressives can ensure that they have a fair chance of winning an election, said the SOSP website, adding, quote, a relatively small influx of money, often as little as 30 to 50,000, can change the outcome of a race. So they're getting ready for 2012 elections. They've been doing it for years, right? So we have riots in the streets. We have the dollar devaluation taking place. We have Occupy Wall Street, which I believe by summer will be setting things literally on fire. There will be riots in the streets. George Soros, who from that conspiracy website, georgesoros.com, his own website, he wanted to set the record straight. He says that George Soros believes that revolutions are destabilizing and necessarily extreme. His work focuses on supporting organizations and governments that protect citizens' rights and respond to their needs. So if healthcare is a right, which is what Obama and all these radical left-wing revolutionaries believe, and that government isn't giving them their right, well, wouldn't then George Soros, like he's done in 6 other countries, be responsible for overthrowing the election? Typically, the way it goes down is that it's a very, very close election. Maybe Romney wins, or maybe something like that happens, and they come out and they say the election's a fraud. And that's when they get the bottom up to just come up to the top and demand new government, demand to overthrow the government. Is Obama planning a 2012 election coup? That's the question. I'm your internet anchorman, Fabian for Liberty. Thanks for watching. I'm out.